You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah!
All right, welcome back to our second portion of Wednesday morning show at 6:15. I got Karen Schoen calling all the way from Greenwood, Florida, from the Blueberry Farm up there north of Tallahassee, I believe. And are you going to be at the meeting we're going to have Friday, I believe, Jackson County?
I certainly am. I will miss this to the world.
Well, wonderful. I know I'll be up there. I don't go to Mariana very often, but when I do, I always go with my wife.
Blueberry Farm.
And go to the Blueberry Farms up there as well, too. So anyway, what's happening up in your neck of the woods up there?
Well, we're still arguing what's going on in Apalachicola.
What is that?
Water issue. We have a very serious problem going on in there, and this is an ongoing problem that we're having with Alabama and Georgia. And apparently, Glenn Graham, who is the District 2 House Representative,
correct,
is calling for emergency meetings to discuss the water problems in Florida. Governor Scott asked Obama for help, and Obama basically said, go suck wind. You're playing ball with me, I'm not playing ball with you.
Well, that's the way the political game works.
Right.
That's
the
how that...
citizens be damned. You have two ego people, and the citizens get lost in the shuffle because neither of them care about
Well,
the citizens. They're just busy with their ego hats.
Well, we're going to talk about this later. We were talking about certain laws of physics can't be changed out there. And so speaking of laws of physics and natural laws, we were talking about certain laws that can't be changed. Natural laws, the laws of economics, and the laws of physics. Tell me what this controversy is, in case people don't know, on the Apalachicola River between Georgia and Florida.
Well, the Apalachicola River, like many of the other rivers, when salt water meets together with fresh water, we always have a potential problem. And this time, the Apalachicola River is getting polluted, but it's getting polluted from Georgia and Alabama because, of course, they overbuild in certain areas, and this is what goes on. So the oyster beds are now at risk from the pollution. And Glenn Graham realizes that this is a major disaster for our area if we don't get this cleaned up, because a lot of people depend on the oyster industry in Apalachicola. If it's not cleaned up, the oysters are at risk. Are there ways to clean it up? Yes, there are. A large part of the problem comes from the Army Corps of Engineers, because they've not been managing what they have been supposed to be managing properly. They're not paying attention. And if you remember way back then in Katrina, when the levees broke, they broke because the Army Corps of Engineers wasn't managing properly. So now we go back to the age-old question of who manages things properly, people who have ownership or a government who says go suck wind.
Well, we all know that government solutions to government problems is like a drunk trying to drink himself sober. It never works. You just get more drunk. You can't. It doesn't seem to work. I mean, there's no solution there. So yes, I understand if you got ownership of something, it's a lot better. But in what's causing the problem, the pollution? Is it runoff from sewage, from septic tanks, or is it runoff from factories? Is it runoff from the streets? What is causing the problem?
Well, that's really the major problem, because what's going on is they fix like a Band-Aid. You can't clean out the end results. You have to go way back into the source. Where is it really coming from? Where is this problem coming from?
Right.
And it's not a single issue. That's the other thing. Most problems happen because multiple things happen simultaneously, and what happens notoriously is we'll fix one thing. And you know that from the engine of a car.
Right.
How many things can go wrong? If you fix one thing, is the car going to work beautifully all again? No, you have to look and find what is the actual source of the problem fixed out, and then you have a chance.
Yeah, you have to not treat the symptom, but find the cause. And
That's right.
And yes.
Notoriously Americans, and we don't do that. We go and we scream around, oh my goodness, it's nitrogen. Oh my goodness, it's phosphorus. Oh my goodness, it must be the septic tanks. Oh my goodness, it must be this. Well, it's usually a combination of multitudes of things.
Mm-hmm.
And that, unfortunately, is what we don't do. So we wind up fixing a symptom, and then the problem persists. And this is what's been going on now. This is not new. It's been happening for years and years and years, but we're not fixing the right problem.
Ever since I came here, it's always been a contention what happens at Apalachicola, what happens on River at the Oysters, what happens up in Alabama and Georgia. You know, either they're releasing too much water or they're not releasing enough water. You know, it's it's when man starts fooling with Mother Nature, that's when things start going downhill.
That's exactly right, and that's really the problem that I see, is that you want to build in one area, so they'll drain that area without recognizing Mother Nature, and hey, maybe we shouldn't be draining that area. Maybe it's there for a reason. And what Mother Nature usually does is have built-in natural filters, and when you destroy those natural filters, we have a mess, which is what we have now.
Well, and we see that that's why they have remedial programs. Like we built an airport up here, and when they built the airport, they were on some wetlands areas, so they gave them remedial lands to turn back into wetlands. It's like I said, the laws of nature and the laws of physics, and it seems like the government likes to change those laws, and just sometimes they just can't be changed no matter how hard you try. There's certain things you cannot change. Now, you're saying the government, how is Georgia and Florida and Alabama talking to each other, or are they taking their toys and going away and not talking to each other about this problem?
No, they're talking and not talking at the same time. So it's playing the blame game.
Oh, it sounds like 8th grade in junior high school.
Exactly. And that, of course, is why nothing ever really gets done, because everybody is focused on their own little problem instead of saying, okay, we did this, what could have been the consequences? How could we have stopped the consequences? Because what happens is we'll fix a problem only to create another problem.
There's got to be a win-win situation for everybody involved.
Yes.
I know they want to be able to have Lake Lanier. I think that's part of the river they have that goes to the Apalachicola River, and they've dammed that up, and they get water out of that. And there's got to be a happy medium someplace where everybody wins. They need to have water for drinking and what their needs, and we need to have water for the oysters and what our needs are. There's got to be some sort of middle ground here. I mean, there's got to be something, and I just don't know what the answers are. But I think if enough people put their heads together instead of taking their toys and going home, it will get better. So do you have any solutions, Karen? Do you have any ideas what we might be able to do? Did I drop Karen off? Okay. Well, she'll call back in a second. Sometimes the phones get messed up. But if people out there have ideas how to solve things, that's the only way you're going to solve it, is get community involvement, and instead of having just a politician. Karen, are you back again?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
that's one of the bad things about living out in the country. Because we have pockets of, that's another issue. We have pockets of no service. So
well, we have that in government. We have that in
create another problem. So everybody is all hot and excited about cell phones, except many of them don't work in lots of areas.
Hey, that's a lot like government. A lot of it doesn't work either. We have pockets that work and pockets that don't.
That's right.
Hey, but let me ask you a question. Do you have any solutions?
We have to pay attention. When we create a problem, we have to make sure that we're not adding another problem later on down the road, which is what happens too often.
Yes. Now, Karen, have you heard any solutions to this problem? Has anyone gave?
Yes, I have.
What are they, please?
Believe it or not.
What are they? I want to hear them.
This has been a hot issue with me for quite some time.
All right.
I have been working with a company that has a solution, and believe it or not, it's a natural solution. And we're going to be we've been testing it in Florida. It's working beautifully, and I will be happy to share more information with you next week as we conclude the testing, because it looks like we're going to be able to clean up some of the waterways and land in Florida using microbials, not chemicals.
Hey,
and that was our goal, is to make sure that we do something that doesn't create another problem.
If I understand correctly, you're talking about using microbials to take care of bad
The algae.
algae bloom.
And they wind up eating bad stuff that we don't want.
Wow. Maybe you need to tell governors.
The idea is to use nature to reverse a natural problem instead of injecting chemicals, which will later on create another problem.
Now, what about, is hydrogen peroxide considered a bad chemical? I'm just curious. Hydrogen peroxide. The reason is because
Could you say that again?
hydrogen peroxide. I know they're injecting hydrogen peroxide where gas tanks used to be and service stations used to be to kill eat up the hydrocarbons that are in the soil. Hydrogen peroxide does it, and it seems to be a lot less invasive than it used to be, and it doesn't seem to affect the groundwater in a negative way.
Right. That's the whole idea, is to come up with a solution that is natural, that will just assist nature in doing the things that we took away, and give nature back the power to eliminate the problem that man created. But we have to work with nature, and that's the beauty of learning science. And as we know, that's one of my hot buttons, because science is not taught in school anymore. And most people have no idea that nature can help you defeat a problem.
Yes, Mother Nature is not always nice. Sometimes she gives you the lesson before you learn. I learned a lesson yesterday. I walked out to my bee yard and I said, man, look at all the bee activity I got. And I looked up at the sky and the sky was just black with bees. I went, that's not a good sign. Then I looked up a little bit closer in a tree limb, and there's about 50,000 bees sitting on a tree limb. One of my boxes decided they wanted to go wave bye-bye.
Oh, my goodness.
It's no big deal. It happens all the time in bee industry. You try to keep that from happening, but Mother Nature will throw you a curveball when you least expect it. So you have to learn to work with Mother Nature and not against her. That's the thing about it.
That's right, and that's why we have to pay attention to weather and climate, but not on a false premise, on the reality of what it is, and then be able to use it to assist us instead of trying to use it to eliminate. And that's what we have been doing. So Mother Nature does things for a reason. We've got to understand the reason and work within that. And, sometimes man likes to do something, but it's too bad you can't do that. Doesn't work.
There's certain laws you can't change. Here we go again. Hey, next week, talk about this idea you have, Karen. We're up against the clock right now, about how we can clean up the algae and things. Maybe they can use it down on the Okeechobee down there, where they're having such a problem down there.
Actually, we're going to be meeting with them also, and like I said, I will share that information with you next week when I get the results of the tests. And hopefully they are as good as we expect them to be, and then we can help clean up in a natural way instead of in an invasive way.
That's right. Work with nature, not against it. Like I said, there's certain rules of laws you can't change, and that's one of them. Hey, Karen, thank you so much. We're up against a hard break. I'll talk to you next Wednesday morning at the same time. Y'all be good, everybody. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.